Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Hang on here a second. All right. Yeah, there's your little reminder here, courtesy of the US government and the CFTC, that trading is risky and you should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Very important. And it, by and large, it makes your trading life a little bit easier. Let's start here with the daily chart. Get a bird's eye view, if you excuse the pun. So this was yesterday's session. As you remember, we saw some pretty good swings yesterday, and yet it looked like the day was going to end up being a bit of a bear day. They end up rallying into the open and giving us another one of these spinning top doji style bars, which have littered the trading landscape for the last couple of weeks. Really quiet, really congested. I think there's still some FOMC stuff going on today. I'm just going to double check the reports calendar. In which case, oh yeah, okay, it's not until the end of the day, but it may still throw a bit of a wrinkle here into our trading today. We shall see. And then tomorrow is a pretty big manufacturing report out at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. That could spark the market a little bit. So anticipate a little bit of activity before the weekend. Now, while we're waiting on the market, yeah, we kind of got a little bit of a trading range going on like that, perhaps. You can see the European session just before, actually, the European Open. This would be around the Asian session. A little bit of a decline there over the space of an hour and a half. The European session, very quiet. And here we are now with the North American Open. While I think of it, I'm sorry. I know everybody's probably looking forward to tomorrow's Rabbit Hole Friday. I have to head out of town. I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. So my apologies for that. There's not going to be a trading room tomorrow. Very short notice, I know. I'm sorry. Couldn't be helped. Yeah, Mark's totally disappointed, I know. Yeah, and Steve, I'm with you. Steve says, I'm so confused. I thought today was Friday. I hear you, brother. Yeah, I know. Mark says, but we just started on a roll. Okay, well, we're content to go sideways, which is okay. If the market's going sideways, it gives us a chance to perhaps set up a bracket. Okay, here's a little bit of a break. Well, I don't know. What time is it? Oh, we're getting close to that quarter to the hour mark. I'm halfway tempted to call that a bracket, call this a breakout, in which case I would put my just in case order to buy up here, assuming the market is going to try to get more bullish or continue to get more bullish. It's a pretty tight little range. Oh, yes, Steve. Of course, Steve's asking, can I ask what's going on here on the bottom of the chart? Those squiggly lines and yellow dots. Um, we highlighted this actually a couple of weeks ago on the Rabbit Hole Friday. This is the Bollinger Band Suite from Indicator Warehouse. And I liked it so much that I actually threw it on the chart here. The yellow dots simply show when it crosses over the zero line. Gives you a easier visual. It's a pretty good indicator for confirming signals. You know, people always asking, Eric, how can I avoid the chop? Well, if you get a signal like we are here, just a regular green bar buy, and it's in sync with your Bollingers, there should be some follow through on that. So like I said, it was a very interesting tool, so much so that I decided to keep it on. And I also extended it here to the Raptor, the Hawk, the Falcon. You can see here, you Raptor traders, we also have a number one, or pardon me, a number three signal printing. This was essentially a second push on the number three signal. And I'm just looking here now. Okay, so we're skewered by the median line. Let's see what we can do. I'll look here around the 71.25 zone, which is where the primary resistance is at, for a possible profit target. Okay, here according to the Raptor, we're kind of dipping back into the Bollingers. When I see that happen, I tend to, think that's a good time to do something with my stops. I'm not going to jam them in ultra tight just yet. I would like to see a couple of bull bars in my favor. And here we'll draw a nice big heavy trend line under here to help hold the market up. We'll even double it up. That way prices have to go higher. All right, so at this point I can probably roll my stops a little bit more. The idea is we've got a couple of bullish bars. We're bouncing off of the median line after our breakout. If the breakout fails at this point, it's probably going to head the other way, and that would be a good time to get out of Dodge. All right, that's enough. I can take the trade up here to break even. Okay, another little swing. Maybe I'll protect a little bit more. I'll just hiding my stop below that bar with the tail on it. Nuts. Maybe, oh, I was too quick with my stop. Oh well. At least it wasn't a losing trade. made a little bit of profit on it. And now we're kind of back in the drift mode. So when they reached back here to tag me out, that looks like it was actually the proper retest of the breakout. I got in a little bit earlier, of course. Looks like we might be getting a bigger retest here. All right. All right, here we're gonna play with the charts a little bit while we're waiting. Mark said he had a late filter entry print at 8:41 Central, so that's 6:41 my time. Right through there. Okay, filter out of sync, back into sync. My trend line, however, changed color. All right, let me see what we can do about that. I'm going to play with the bar size here a little bit. And see if that doesn't make a difference. How about that, Mark? Does that look a little bit more like yours? So what we're looking at is this section right here. Does that seem more in sync with yours? Aha! Mark says yes. All right. So all I did with the new mean Renkos, we made them more customizable. Yes, you can argue that may not necessarily be a good thing, but there you go. You have it all the same. So there's two components to the bar. There's your trend component, that's the body of the bar, and then there's the reversal component, that's the tail of the bar. So sometimes, if you want to make them more or less sensitive, you can emphasize more the trend side, or you can emphasize more the reversal side. By default, if you're running an 8-tick brick, your trend will normally be 8 ticks and your reversal will normally be 8 ticks. But for whatever reason, the Falcon programming between Ninja 7 and Ninja 8 has not been syncing up exactly. So what I did is I took the same 16 ticks. I realized that when I made the change earlier, I was now working on a 15-tick brick instead of the 16-tick that we would normally see spanned. So I increased the trend side to 9 instead of 8. I reduced the reversal size to 7 instead of 8. So I'm still covering the same range, still covering the same 16 tick range, but doing it a little bit differently now. All right, so we'll run with that. Mark says that's a little bit better. And when you make changes like that, before you forget, you have to remember to save your changes. And so I will do that right now. Here's a little tip, if you will. When you have your workspaces, it's not a bad idea to build yourself a duplicate workspace. If for whatever reason the workspace becomes corrupted, you will have a duplicate. So I'm going to save the duplicate first. And now I will resave it, the main one. So just a little way to save yourself a little bit of work if, like I said, for whatever reason, your current workspace becomes corrupted, you have a backup. You don't have to take a half an hour and rebuild all your charts, which can be terribly annoying. I had a feeling it would be something relatively simple. And like I said, for those of you who like to play with your charts, feel free to experiment with the brick sizes, with the trend side, and the reversal sizes. It will modify the signals somewhat. Okay, it looks like we are now definitely in a downtrend. Trade forecasters saying we are in trend mode for the better part of the hour. We'll see how that holds. All right, the clouds have crossed. We're getting a pushback. We're back into the hard edge here on the hawk. It looks like we may produce a late filter entry here to short on the falcon, but things definitely looking a little bit more bearish right now. Mark's asking, what were the numbers you tweaked? Okay. So the trend side, we're going to change. We're going to go from 8 to 9. And on the reversal side, we're going to go from 8 to 7 instead of 8 by 8. Another nice little late filter entry signal right there. And like I said, the market definitely bearish right now. So you can look practically for any shorting opportunity. We had a macro pullback here on the hawk, a trend change / late filter entry here on the falcon, a number 1 signal on the raptor, and just your basic trend change signal here on the eagle. But visually, looking at your chart, we've taken out a significant swing point. So here's the breakout, and you can do this just like with a trading range. You can say, okay, there's my breakout. I'll put a just in case order to short below there. In case the market tanks without any warning, I'm ready. And I did this a little bit early because I'm pretty sure this bar is going to finish bullish. Ideally, I want to see 2 bull bars like here. I don't want to do it just on one because what can happen is the market can waffle a little bit. Oh, come on. You can make me pull it out of the way. Or actually, I should cancel it entirely until I get those 2 bull bars. Don't you dare. But now that we've reached this swing zone back here, the support zone, we can anticipate 2 moves in the direction of the breakout. So this is move number 1. And, oh, you stinkers. can be on the lookout for move number 2. All right, I got the 2 bull bars, and you can see the difference between trying to short below the 1. You would be sweating a trade now as the market pulls against you. Okay, we are in retest mode. So we've had the breakout, looking for the retest, looking for evidence that the market's going to head lower. Okay, and if it chooses to reverse from here, all right, we're going to get a sell signal. We're against the Bollingers. I'm okay leaving my entry below here for now. Let's see what the other tools are doing. Yeah, the Hawk, we got a green bar sell, which tends to develop near the end of a trend, but we're just looking to scalp here, so we're not asking too much. We've got a hard edge bounce signal forming on the Raptor, but once again, we're kind of against the Bollingers, so a second push, not a bad way to go. All right, so if you chose to be a little bit more aggressive on this trade, there now you got a little mini trend line and you've got a second push opportunity on that number 3 signal. The second push, again, simply means that we allow the signal to engage and then we see where the market reacts. Now, if you want to be safer on this, you can also wait for your Bollinger to come into sync. Well, what is with that? If we get a bounce off of here, we're going to get another hard edge bounce. Oh, forget about that. Okay, I'm going to cancel that order for now. You see the Bollingers were accurate actually from back here. They started to call the market bullish, had a nice little upswing. But to me, my bands are bearish. The overall trend still seems to be down. I think I may still be in favor of a short. We'll see. We'll see what they do. All right, so we're into the hard edge. This is where we anticipate a reaction. And like I said, here on the Eagle, we did break a rather significant swing point. We should anticipate 2 moves lower. Okay, here we're going to get a green bar sell. That's a pretty strong signal on the Eagle. And again, we're kind of getting in a little ahead of the curve because we're not really in sync yet on the other tools as well. There's definitely a possibility we can see a much bigger test of the extreme here. Actually, that opens up the possibility of buying above here as well. So it looks like we may have a couple of options available to us. Okay, so here now we're going to get the green bar sell signal. Okay, I'm going to throw my order in right there, just below this bar that's hesitating. And I'm going to treat this as a bracket. So I'm going to throw my exit order above the high. So if this fails to continue now with the green bar sell, if the market fails to continue lower, I'm going to try to buy it, see if we don't get a bigger test of the extreme. The hawk already bullish, as is the falcon. The falcon looking bullish here. An early trend change signal, an early number one here on the raptor. It's a pretty tight little trade overall, though. And to the upside, I probably can't push it too far past the median line for a profit target. So we kind of have the market bracketed here a little bit. I think I would prefer to see it head lower. I think there's more potential to try and recover near yesterday's lows. Here, once again, the daily chart. So you can see where we're at right now at 71.01 and yesterday's lows down here at 70.48. Again, 70.50, which has been a very, very influential number the last few weeks. if it heads lower from here, you could interpret it as a hard edge bounce, even though the clouds are starting to get out of sync. All right. We're in sync again now with the Bollingers, and we're producing that hard edge bounce signal. It's not going to print as a hard edge bounce because the clouds are out of sync, but visually you can see we encountered the hard edge. I don't think I'm going to adjust my order any. Where's the next resistance zone after that? Oh, all the way down there to 70.61. All right, that's might be a little bit far. I'll kind of split the difference. When and if the market heads lower. All right, here we go. So we're producing yet another green bar sell on the Eagle. Okay. The 70-90 zone has been kind of sticky too, right? That's where the market made that swing before. They're pushing hard, or they were. Now they stopped. Don't stop. Actually, I think I may go on the other side of 70-70, make it a little bit easier still. If the You can see the Bollingers will come and sync when and if we can break here the ATR line. I'm very tempted to roll up my stops, but I'm going to try to resist. At least until I can see another couple of bearish bars in my favor, then I'll consider rolling my stops up. There we go. All right. So I can roll my stops to here, or at this point, I may as well take it to break even. Keep my fingers crossed that there's not going to be too much pushback from this low. You can see a little bit of buying as buyers anticipating support again near these lows. We should have other signals by now. Yeah, we've got a quick little trend change signal up here on the Falcon. Occurred very quickly as that trend line changed. So nice little opportunity there. You, by the way, you have hit your high probability profit objective. If you want to just take your profit, ditto here on the Hawk with the first micro macro cross. Oh, you scoundrels. And here on the Raptor, the #1 signal. No! Nuts! Ah, I hate that. We had the right idea. Well, pretty sure we had the right idea. You could employ a second push off of this #1 signal. Try to get short again. Or if the market's not going to head lower, there's a very good chance it's going to head higher. So you can also be on the alert for a buy opportunity here. You can see the Bollinger's just coming in sync on the buy side. This will be a very, very large #2 signal. I would probably consider getting bullish above here. There's the signal right there. We'll see if we get a second push on it. So once again, the market kind of working itself into a little bit of a bind. Okay, there's one bar. Give me the other one. No. All right, I'll look to take it above this signal here, which, like I said, was a very drawn out #2 signal. And I'm going to try to stretch it back here to the median line. That's going to be my profit target. Actually, I may not make it work quite that hard. So just so you can see what's going on here, we've got a great big test of the extreme being this low, and the market reluctant to head lower. So the idea is, okay, if it doesn't want to go lower, maybe it wants to go higher. This high right here is the big deal. This little double top. We know there's plenty of sellers there. If that gets breached, we should see a relatively quick little move up. And maybe I'll take it on just the other side of 71.05. I'm trying to give it some room around the 71.02, 71.03 zone. You know, I could force the trade to break even at this point. Excuse me. Come on, let's just get a little bit more follow through there. There we go. Come on now. Now let's watch here. Like I said, there's active selling up here. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to go to break even. If we breach now 71.02, we should see like boom, boom, boom. We should see a couple quick little bars as the sellers are forced to exit. First, they have to get that high though. All right, you saw that quick little uptick. I'm going to squeeze the trade now. All right, hooray for us. I took my profit pretty much on target. I could have tried to stretch it out here to the median line, but hey, why be greedy? I like it. All right, well, a decent day overall, in spite of the fact the market seems reluctant to go anywhere. We have managed to grab a couple little moves, partly, well, mostly due to the signals. Mostly concentrating on our things like our green bar sell off the hard edge. Also throwing in a little bit of a dash of market knowledge, namely, watching a market struggle, trying to head lower, opens up the opportunity that the market will head, pardon me, will head higher. Throw a test of the extreme on there and sync it up with your Bollinger Suite, and you got yourself a very promising little buy signal occurring right there. For those of you who are new, don't be frustrated. If it seems like it's overwhelming, it's not. You just have to gain the confidence with your tools. It doesn't matter what tool it is you're using, whether it's a table saw or a new car or whatever. You can think of a tool analogy of your own. You have to learn how to use the tool properly to get the most out of it. And unfortunately, there are shortcuts. I can show you how to do things. You're more than welcome to ask questions. In fact, I encourage you to ask questions. But at the end of the day, you still have to spend some time with it. All right, a little bit of a bullish break again, but don't forget, overall, the trend seems to be down today. Like if we take the bigger view, not much going on today. Here was a little bit of an uptrend out of the open, and then boom, down she goes. So I'm not ruling out the shorts here. kind of neutral though. I'm just watching here the Bollinger Suite. It's kind of in neutral territory, and that kind of throws a little bit of a damper on it. Second push entry is probably advised. Yeah, I love Mark's comment here. Practice, 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 and then practice some more. And I know from talking to Mark that he knows of what he speaks. I know, Mark, you took a lot of time to learn your software, and of course now it's paying dividends for you. And again, I'm not saying this to discourage anyone. The software works, but you know, you got to work it. It's not going to do it for you. I get questions all the time, every day, at least one or two emails every day from people looking for a black box system. And I get it. Your life is busy. You got lots of stuff going on. You don't have the time to devote to learning how to trade. I would love to produce a black box system. I would love it. But the fact of the matter is, the market environments change. And poor Ben would probably be in a straitjacket by the time he had it figured out, had it all programmed. But there at this time, there is still no substitute for your own brain. And you know, again, it's not rocket science what we're doing here. You get a signal, you have to analyze the signal. Okay, it's the number one signal to buy. First thing I do is I look left. Do I have a trend? No, not really. I had a couple of big swings here. Is it a trend? At this point, I would say not. If anything, I kind of like this bigger move down here as my trend. Have I seen a test of the extreme? Well, maybe. I got a little bit of a double top going on here. Is the market maybe ready to reverse? I'm producing a number two signal. It's not in sync with my Bollingers yet, but that's kind of leaning that way, isn't it? Or am I in a sideways trading range? That actually seems to be more likely to me at this point. That I'm in a bit of a sideways twist. Let's see if I get a second push on this number two, because that's going to maybe cause, like we've got a little bit of a trend line breach here. Right? If I get a second push opportunity, I could throw my just in case order to short in below here. I could just throw a short order if for whatever reason the buyers cannot recover. Remember, what happens on trend line breaks is that it's kind of a kick in the pants to the buyers. Hey, wake up. The sellers are taking the market away from us. So if the buyers can't pull it together at this point and give me a second push opportunity here on the on this number two signal that's printing, it's probably going to head lower. So I can throw my just in case order to short below there. You can see now the Bollinger's coming into sync. And if I get a couple of bull bars here, well, then I'll have an excellent place at which to place my short order, my second push on the short. All right, so there's one bar. And again, I'll just kind of leave my just in case order in play here. Okay, so a good bull push. I got a couple of bars there. I'm going to actually delete this order, and I'm going to use my trade calculator here so I can get my profit order in play as well. And I'm just going to be looking to short below here, essentially that second push on the number 2 signal. And yes, I'm taking a bit of a chance here because we just produced a number 3 signal, a hard edge bounce. But like I say, to my way of looking at the market right now, I'm going to call it more bearish. Okay, so there now the number 3 signal. Okay, so I'm going to short now on this second push on the number 2, and here we go with yet another number 2 signal. Okay, I got filled, and come on. Come on. 7,100 seemingly a little bit more influential right now. And boom goes the dynamite. There. Not bad. You know what? I'm quite pleased with myself if you haven't caught on to that. Well, you know, given the way the market is today, I really only missed this move right here, this number 2 signal. I kind of saw it coming. I didn't mention it. What caught my attention was the fact that the Bollingers had gotten weak. The Bollingers had gotten bearish. We'd kind of hit the sideways drift. The market was struggling to get up. And then we produced a number 2 signal. And then the bottom fell out. But even so, you know, you're going to miss signals. It's going to happen. But when you see things, opportunities, when you're able to sift them out and take advantage of them, yeah, go ahead, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. Yeah, good comment here from Mark. Mark says it does work, but you have to find your sweet spot. And once you find a trade setup that works, practice waiting for it and taking only it. Once you can do that consistently, bam! Is Emerald still on TV? I used to love watching this cooking show. All right, folks. I hate to duck out early, but I got to duck out a few minutes early here. Again, a reminder, and I apologize, no trading room tomorrow. I got to head out of town. I will see you on Monday. Have a nice weekend. Talk to you soon. Oh, if you're trading tomorrow, be careful. There is likely to be some increased volatility after the consumer or the manufacturing report that's going to come out at 10 o'clock Eastern. All right. See you Monday. Bye for now.